welcome to Research Talk. In our previous video, we talked about emotion coding. In this video, I'm going to talk about another effective method of coding qualitative data, which is value coding. In value coding, we code participants' values, beliefs, attitudes, and motivations. Whether they are explicit in the data or implicit in the data. So as a researcher, you look at your transcript, you look at your observation data, and you look for values, beliefs, attitudes, and motivations which are there in what the participant is sharing. And so you code these 4 points in your transcripts. So that's what value coding is in short. And why value coding is important? Because you see, value coding is important because all of our behaviors, our actions, our reactions, our decisions are guided by these 4 points. So if you look at if a participant talks about any behaviors, actions, decisions they are doing, it's all guided by these 4 values. Values, beliefs, attitude, and motivations. So when we code participants' beliefs, attitude, motivations, and values, it helps us to get a deeper understanding of the data. As I said previously, participants' values, beliefs, attitudes, and motivations could be very explicit in the data and maybe implicit in the data. So when you read your transcript, ask yourself, what are some implicit or explicit values, beliefs, attitudes, or motivations that this person is holding? And that helps you to identify those and code those things. Let's understand this with an example. Let's say as a researcher, I'm exploring consumers' decisions about purchasing any product. So one of the values that may influence a person's decision to purchase a product is the value of environmental sustainability. So this value can influence decision making of people. So that's how value coding looks like. So when you read a transcript, when you read your observation, you look for these values which are inherent there to understand how it is influencing participants' actions, decisions, behaviors, overall how they perceive those incidents and experiences. So value coding is really important to understand, to develop a deeper level of understanding of if a participant is doing something, what might be some possible motivations, what might be some possible beliefs and values which are guiding those decisions and behaviors. And that is why value coding becomes very important coding if I'm doing a study on understanding a cultural, let's say, phenomenon, or if I'm doing a study on ethics, because again, our values, beliefs, motivations, they all guide our decisions, particularly moral and ethical decisions that we make in our life. So value coding is very useful if I'm doing a study on, as I said, um, cultural phenomenon. I'm doing a study on ethics. I'm doing a study on, let's say, decision making. If I'm exploring a phenomenon related to personal principles. So such studies are enriched in terms of understanding those phenomena if I use value coding. So that's briefly about what a value coding is. As a researcher, you look for the values, beliefs, attitudes, and motivations inherent in the data, whether explicitly shared or implicitly implied by the participant. We code those values. Another important thing to keep in mind, once, let's say I started doing value coding on one transcript and I finished doing the whole transcript. Now, after you have done your coding, value coding, it's important to organize those codes together, and that will help you gain a deeper sense of what this participants' values and beliefs and attitudes are, and that will give you more deeper sense of the decisions that this person is making and their overall impact on their life. So let's say, so what you do, values, beliefs, attitudes, motivations. Let's say you are doing one transcript and there are, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 codes related to values. Let's say 3, 4, 4 codes related to beliefs, and then you have another 4 codes related to attitude, and let's say you have a couple of more codes for motivations. So you write these codes in those categories, and to do that, another thing I recommend is whenever you write a value code, start with V and then write the code, so that when you are reading, when we are looking at the codes, you can easily identify that this is a value code. Similarly, when I'm writing a belief code, I will write B and then the code. When I'm writing attitude related code, I will write A and then the code. Similarly, with motivations, I can write M and then the code. So when I'm looking at all the codes, I will organize it accordingly. And then I can interpret, like, overall what values this participant is holding, what beliefs this participant is holding, what attitudes, what motivations are there with reference to this particular participant. So that's you need to do after you have done the coding. And let's say if I'm interviewing 10 people, I can organize these participant in like columns, and then I could see and compare across participants the values and beliefs, attitudes, motivations that we see across participants. So we can find some common themes in terms of the values, beliefs, attitudes, and motivations. Now let me show you, let me demonstrate how these codes, value coding, looks like in practice on my computer. So on my screen you could see this is a transcript from a study that explored work-life balance and related experiences. So let me first add a column, a text box on the right side for our coding. So insert, and okay, text box. Okay, let me do another one here too. Insert a text box. Okay. As I said, this is a transcript from work-life balance. So the researcher, thank you for participating in this study. Let's start by discussing your current job role. How do you feel about your work-life balance? So that's the first question for the research participant. And research participant responded with, honestly, it's been quite challenging. I have always valued hard work and dedication to my career, but lately it feels like my job demands all time, and I'm struggling to find space for my personal life or even just to unwind. So you can easily see the value here, hard work and dedication to my career. So I'm going to code it V, as I said previously, so that I could easily identify. V means value, and then the code is hard work and dedication. Hard work and dedication. All right. Let's keep moving. Now, researcher respond as, it sounds like you place a lot of importance on your career. Can you tell me more about the values that guide your approach to work? And participant responded as, sure, I have always believed in the importance of being reliable and productive. So that's another belief here. So I will code B as belief, and then the code is, I could put it like reliability and productivity. And then he says, my parents instilled in me the value of hard work and its role in achieving success. So I have always aimed to exceed expectations at work, believing it's the key to professional growth and stability. So we can see that this person has a value related to professional success and stability. All right. Now the researcher respond, how do these values conflict or align with your desires for your personal life? And response is, that's where I'm facing a dilemma. I value family and personal well-being too. So I value family and personal well-being. So that's pretty straightforward. I value family and personal well-being. paying. So that's our code in terms of the value we see here. I believe in the importance of spending quality time with loved one and taking care of my health. Again, a belief here we see quality time with loved one. And then he says, but with my current work situation, it feels like those values are being compromised. I'm torn between the need to excel professionally and the desire to have a fulfilling life. So we could code this excerpt as work-life balance because he's sharing that he's torn between these two. So we could code it work-life balance here. Then the researcher respond, have there been any moments when you felt your values were particularly challenged? So now let's code this one here too. Participants responded as, yes, definitely. A recent project required so much of my time that I missed important family events and neglected my health. It was a wake-up call. I started questioning whether the success I was chasing at work was worth the sacrifices I was making on a personal level. So we could code this one as like a attitude toward boundary setting. That's what he's talking about. Like he needs to set a boundary between his work life and personal life. So that's another value that is implicit here. Researcher further saying, how are you navigating these challenges? And the response is, I've been trying to set clearer boundaries at work and communicate more openly with my employer. So another value we could see here is communicate, clear communication, communicate clearly, or clear communication. Further, he says, with my employer for my needs for balance, I'm also exploring ways to prioritize tasks and delegate more effectively. It's a work in progress, but I'm hopeful I can find a better balance. So another value he is talking here, which is prioritization and delegation. So you could see in this transcript what we are doing here is we are reading the transcript and we are looking at values, beliefs, motivations that this person is having, whether they are shared explicitly or implicitly. And as I said previously, it's important to keep a prefix like whether V or B for beliefs, V for values. So that helps you to organize your codes later on when you are done coding. So value coding is an important coding, particularly if you are exploring topics related to cultural phenomenon, you are exploring topics related to decision making, you are exploring topics related to ethics or personal principles, this is where value coding could be very, very useful to understand, to develop a deeper understanding of the data you are coding. I hope this explained the process of coding, value coding to you. If you have any questions, you can definitely write in the comments and I'll get back to you. Till then, have a good day and I'll see you soon.